We're back. Overreaction Monday back in your ear gates.
Let's do it.
Unless you're watching us on our YouTube channel, then you're seeing us. Hey, everybody. It's time for another edition of Overreaction Monday. Rich, along with Chris. Hopefully, you have been fine and dandy ever since the last time we spoke on this podcast was shortly after free agency. Figured we'd pop back in because we're going to pop back in over the next couple weeks with the draft being 2 weeks away from this very Thursday.
Wow.
Of the Monday from which we're recording this sort of thing. Good to see you over there, Christopher.
Rich, I'm great. Yeah, but we're going to do a pre-draft podcast and then a post, and we're going to react.
That's right. And then after that, schedules come out. Then the win-loss game takes us all the way through to the summer.
Oh, man, let's go. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's going to go by super fast, but it's going to be fun.
Well, this week is the week before everybody returns for off-season workout programs. We're right around the corner.
Yeah, there's a few teams today on Monday, right as we're recording this. Jets, Bears, Patriots all in camp.
Let's go, baby.
I'm ready.
Well, I mean, new coaches get an early shot at things. And then everyone's going to be around, and then we're talking about who's not there because of contracts and this, that, the other thing.
And we're only talking about the players who are there.
And here we are on this Monday, second Monday of I guess it's technically first Monday of April, and it is the day of the men's national championship game in college basketball.
Yep.
And Aaron Rodgers still has not signed. And here we're like, the day that we did the free agency pod.
We were like, oh, man.
Should we do it? Should we wait a day?
Because maybe he'll sign while we're talking.
And he still hasn't.
Yeah.
So
we're going to get to that.
The owners' meeting is in the books. The tush push got pushed in its own right to the next owners' meeting. They got tabled because it was 16 apiece.
I know, right?
Right down the middle. A little bit has been changed with.
I'm sure we'll hit on that on the
instant replay. Today. Yeah, we'll talk all about it on this edition of Overreaction Monday. Hit it.
That was terrible.
That was crap. That was garbage. This place sucks.
Overreaction Monday.
All right, so there's lots to talk about, but I'm curious as to what has reached your sense of on your radar screen here.
So it's a few draft topics, and then I was dying to have an Aaron Rodgers free episode, but we're going to talk about it anyway.
Okay, you have to.
Did you catch any of it wasn't a pro day, Rich? It was the Colorado football showcase.
Yes, indeed.
That went on in Boulder. It was great.
I love it.
Shedeur looked good. You know, there was a lot of will he, won't he with Travis Hunter. He decided to come out and run, like 15, 16 routes or something.
Right.
Obviously looked awesome. And then Deion was like, look, these guys should go 1-2 in the draft.
They should.
They should go 1-2, top of the draft. These are the two best players.
That's what he said.
Let's get after it.
Okay.
Deion is like half right. Hunter and Shedeur will go 2-3 in the draft in 2 weeks.
I don't know. I mean, it's a total mystery. What's up with Shedeur? And it's every year, you know how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whoever throws at the combine gets a leg up.
Yep.
C.J. Stroud, for instance, right?
That's right.
He threw at the combine.
He did. Looked great.
And Bryce Young didn't. And look out. They choose Bryce Young instead. And C.J. Stroud.
One of the best rookie quarterbacks we've ever seen.
Coming out of the combine, maybe he is number one. Look how much Carolina was surrounding him at his pro day at the Ohio State. And you know how it works. So Cam Ward has been the number one overall pick
for months.
Coming out of the combine, it would have been Abdul Carter if we didn't find out about his foot and what is going on with him. And then it's Cam Ward, and the Titans sent everybody to his pro day, and everybody just back off. Don't even try and take the pick. We're always open for business, but it's going to be Cam Ward. And then Shedeur has his pro day. And it's the first time that he's really done anything.
I haven't seen him since what? They played their last game in December.
Well, he was wasn't he at the East-West Shrine?
He was, and then he didn't do anything. And then did not.
Right. So now it's his first time of getting out there, and even though he's in shorts and all the routes are being run by his guys. My favorite one was the one where Jimmy Horn grabbed it, fell down, then popped up, and basically forward flipped into the end zone.
Yeah.
You know, and that was kind of what this what is it called?
Showcase. Yeah.
Was all about. And I just love Deion's showmanship by saying it's not a pro day. It's called a showcase, guys.
Yeah.
So it's just different wrapping, different packaging, different marketing. And so, the Browns were all over
Took
him.
these guys out to dinner the night
all
before.
of that stuff. So it's entirely possible that a guy that coming out of the combine, conversation was, he wasn't interested in some of these meetings. He's kind of unprofessional when he doesn't take it seriously because he doesn't think you're going to draft him, or he doesn't want to be drafted by all of that business. And now after the pro day, this isn't out of the realm of possibility that Cam Ward goes first.
Yep.
And then Shedeur and Hunter go 2-3. And you're left with Abdul Carter, which is not a bad thing to be left
which would
with.
Be fantastic.
Not a bad option with which to be left.
Correct.
But I think the Giants do go for one of these two.
You do.
The question is what do the Browns do?
That's been the kind of the talk. We talked to Tom last week when you were out and Andrew was in, and he said the same thing that everyone else is saying. The draft starts at number 2. It's a foregone conclusion that Cam Ward's going number 1. What Cleveland is doing is a pretty big mystery. Andrew Siciliano is the Browns' radio voice. He had no idea. He has no clue what they're doing. They're not letting him in on anything. What do the Browns do at 2? That's when the draft starts.
Yeah. So I think the Giants go with one of these two at 3. And the question is, do the Browns make you right? But I don't think this is an overreaction by any stretch of the imagination. Cam Ward, the 2 Colorado guys, and Abdul Carter becomes a Patriot.
Sign me up.
Sign you up for pretty much anything other than Shedeur being your best option at 4, because
we don't need
that's not your best option.
Right.
So.
Well, Rich, funny you should mention that.
Yeah.
That's topic 2.
Okay.
If Hunter and Carter are gone, I got to go big. Take a big swing. Patriots should take Ashton Jeanty 4th.
I think the Patriots would trade out if that's the case. One of the craziest things I read over the weekend.
Someone has to want to move up, though.
Rich Samini, who covers the Jets, says the Jets might trade away Brace Hall and draft Ashton Jeanty if he's available.
Wow.
At 7. That
he's not getting to 7.
I don't know what the hell anymore. But there's no reason for the Patriots to choose a running back 4th overall when they have so many holes. So many holes. And Shedeur sitting there at 4. And somebody might get really antsy because the Raiders are sitting there at 6. And if the Raiders call you guys up and say, how much for Shedeur?
Oh, even after extending Geno? You still think
Geno's
that's fine?
A 2-year deal. I mean, come on.
I don't know.
Geno's extended because he needs to be extended.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is another thing we're talking about in the flagship show. For anyone who sits there and goes, well, they gave him $40 million a year. Why would they draft a rookie? See the Falcons, Atlanta.
Sure.
Sure. It's happened. They gave the guy $40 million a year and then drafted a rookie.
And then they needed him.
And they're going to the rookie.
It worked. That was a smart move.
So
you're laughing at the irony of Tom Brady doing business with the Patriots.
No, I'm just saying
potentially
you can't look at the contract they just gave Geno and say that takes them out of the mix for Shedeur Sanders. If the Patriots are left with Shedeur is the top player on the draft board and they don't want to go Mason Graham because they think he's, I think not like awesome, Aaron Donald, right?
I think he's going to be great.
And Ashton Jeanty is just, I don't know, man. I know the Patriots need playmakers.
Yeah.
But they need a hell of a lot more than that. And if somebody's going to trade him another draft choice for next year and more for this year, I think they trade down, man. I think there's going to be some other trades down if that happens.
Yeah, they'll be
at the top of the draft
phones.
board.
I mean, maybe the Saints move up. Maybe the Jets move up. I don't know. I might have to pay a little Jets
I don't know why
tariff.
the Jets would move up. They need help too. I don't know. But they might love Shedeur also.
Yeah, but they're
It
essentially.
doesn't matter they gave $20 million a year to Justin Fields to
that's
play
a 1 year
2
deal.
years.
Also, yeah, that's a 1 year, $30 million deal.
I don't know. That just takes the pressure off of them not having to do something like that.
Yeah.
For a quarterback. So
I think this draft has the most question marks about what's going to happen and, what's
kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
In recent years.
Certainly since last year, it was 3 quarterbacks in a row. There'll be a lot of intrigue in the top 10, and then we'll see what happens after that. Stay tuned because I've got, 270 more picks to go on NFL Network.
Yeah, a lot of time.
After the top 10. So I'll call that an overreaction. Patriots should trade out if that's their case.
Ashton Jeanty would be fun, though.
I understand. But behind an offensive line that needs rebuilding?
Yeah, true. Yeah, he could,
With another.
He could also make their jobs a little easier.
Okay. I think they trade out if that's the situation.
Rich, you talked about last year. Last year was the quarterback draft, 6 in the top 12, 1, 2, and 3. And everyone says, okay, we got Cam Ward 1, and then Shedeur will go somewhere in the top 10. And then after that, we don't really know. Rich, did you see the news over the weekend? Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe was invited to go to Green Bay, accepted. You know what that tells me? The league has a first-round grade on Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
We're getting not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, 5 quarterbacks in the first round in 2 weeks.
Insane. I like your lack of sanity here. I would love that. I will tell you that. No.
We're getting Cam Ward, Shedeur, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, and the Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe.
I don't read this other than to say, hey, Jalen, come on out. You get drafted first round, you're there. If you don't, enjoy another night in Green Bay and the digs on us, come back so we have another human being on Friday night to come out and hold up a jersey. I don't view this other than the fact that the league thinks he's got a first round grade and there's a chance that he'd be there in the first round. And it's also a dream come true for these kids. I love the idea that he's not sitting there going, I might not get picked in the first round, so I'm not coming. I'm not going to enjoy the benefits of walking a red carpet with my family and with my friends and with my people. I kind of dig that. Trust me, I want this draft to go on forever. And I don't mean this draft as in the 2025 draft. This version of the draft that we've all grown up with could technically be at some point too old hat for people to just sit around and watch for 3 days. That they just want to sit there on their phones anyway and keep scrolling and have some beat reporter that has has no skin, if you will, in the NFL game where they're working for a league partner or they don't care by working for a league partner or they don't care about working for a league partner and they just want to tip the picks over and over again. And then people are at home like scrolling like this or watching other versions of the draft that aren't as traditional as the one that I host for NFL Network. And so anybody who is the age of Jalen Milroe in this day and age who says yes to showing up at the draft, even though he's not really guaranteed to be a first-round pick, and he says yes, and he's willing to stay there and come out on Friday night and wave around and not view that as a badge of failure. I love it. So kudos to him, but I do not believe that means that he's going to be chosen in the first round. Can't control that stuff. And then the fact that you're saying another one's going to go, who's the 5th?
Tyler Shuck.
I don't know, man. I just think Friday night is an important night for the NFL to make it seem like, well, not make it seem, but to make it as big as the first. Mm-hmm. And what feels big, nothing makes a draft feel bigger than to have an actual draftee show up on the stage holding up the jersey, hugging it out with the commissioner, and moving along. So I'll just call this an overreaction, and I hope I'm not overreacting to the NFL draft being aged out as a viewable product, because I love it.
If I give you 3.5 as the quarterback line, you're going under?
I'll go under. Yeah. There's too many other.
So Dart sneaks in, and then that's pretty much it.
There are too many gifted front 7 players.
That's true.
And too many needs.
Yeah, teams like that 5th year control though with the quarterback.
I get it. But dude, if we wind up with 5 first-round quarterbacks,
that'd be great.
I know.
That'd be great.
I would appreciate it.
That'd be great.
Because that would push all these other guys that I'm talking about, edge rushers and receivers and whatever.
To Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else?
It's April 7th.
Okay.
We're still.
Why'd you look at your watch?
Well,
I
was confirming the date.
Okay, great.
You know, sometimes you don't know what day it is. You
I
know
don't.
what I mean?
I don't.
Sometimes you're just like,
I don't.
is it the 6th or the 8th?
Sometimes you don't know. Right, exactly.
All I know is it's Masters Week. We're going to talk about that later.
Okay.
And we're still waiting for Rodgers. We're still sitting around.
Yeah.
He's got no team.
That's correct.
He's
got a team.
He does.
It's going to be. Yeah.
He's at UCLA. He's working out with DK. Cool. I don't know. That seemed it seemed very staged. Convenient that there was a photographer there who has a professional photographer Instagram page.
Yes.
The more I think about it,
Yes.
the Vikings should go with Rodgers. The Vikings should call Rodgers, and he should be their guy in 2025. You're really going to go, what were they, 14-3 this year?
Yes.
You're really just going to hand that over to J.J. McCarthy, will be the youngest quarterback in the league.
Right.
With zero experience.
Yes.
Coming off of a knee injury.
Yes.
You're just going to hand all that over to him and pray? Like that's your plan? Or are you going to go with the guy you know? The guy who looked good in the second half of last year.
Right.
A guy you've played, obviously, for endless years, being in the same division when he was with Green Bay.
Yes.
And that's your plan? Like Stefanski's just going to coach him up. All right, JJ, let's go get him.
You mean O'Connell?
O'Connell.
But I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's your plan.
First
the
of all,
Vikings need Aaron Rodgers, and he wants to go there. He doesn't want to go to Pittsburgh. If he did, he would have signed already. He's holding out. He's thinking Minnesota's going to come to their senses and give him a call and be like, you know what? Actually, let's do this. And he'd be like, yes, where do I sign?
Here's my thoughts on this. First of all, you make a compelling argument. Secondly, the fault in your argument, in my estimation, is, and this is not because I'm biased about J.J. McCarthy, is that you use the word prayer. Like you think it's a prayer that needs to be answered for McCarthy to be the kid that they drafted last year, this coming year. I mean, it's pretty much the same team and setup. I mean, they even kept Aaron Jones. They got better, actually, in the running back department by getting Jordan Mason behind him.
That's true.
Okay. That defensively, it's virtually the same group coming back. But they added Jonathan Allen. I mean, you could say it's a stronger team than the one that they had last year. But last year, it was going to be either, J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold. This year, it's J.J. McCarthy or, in your estimation, Prey. Okay? And
because he's such an unknown.
I understand that, but I also think that they're smart enough to know who he is. They've been around him for almost a year. They also see what he has physically and believe it is more important for them to go for it with him now than to stunt it, hoping that Rodgers at this certain age is the true answer, and put themselves in the boat that the Jets put themselves in the boat that the Steelers are apparently setting themselves up to put themselves in, which is no future plan at the quarterback spot. So we got to go and hope that Rodgers is in fact still the MVP guy in this now 41-year-old body. And the only difference between the Jets and the Steelers and the Vikings is the Vikings do have another option at the quarterback position. Young, so they don't have to do this like the Jets did 2 years ago because their young quarterback had proven not ready for prime time. Or the Steelers have to do this because they blew up last year's quarterback room to the point where they're both now starting at MetLife. And Rodgers is going to be the guy. It's because they've got to have him now, the Steelers. And I understand you're saying the fact is, why hasn't he signed yet? That leads to some sort of sense of Rodgers.
It makes me think he doesn't,
hedging or he's not all in.
Yeah.
That is the impression. I'm out of the game of figuring out what makes Rodgers tick. I'm out of that game. I'm done. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Is he just biding his time because he doesn't believe in the Steelers? Is he biding his time because he's hoping the Vikings do have a change of heart and then he just heel turns on the Steelers and leaves them in a Mason Rudolph plus having to draft a quarterback situation?
But that wouldn't surprise
weeks?
you if that's actually the case.
I agree. Or would it surprise me because I'm now cynical, thanks to Myles Garrett, that the Steelers haven't put enough money on the table?
Yeah.
I raised a lot of your eyebrows here in this studio, and I said, I think he's going to get $35, $40 million a year.
Whoa.
Because that's what somebody of Rodgers' previous caliber makes. And also what the Steelers are over a barrel. Like, they've got to pay him. And is he going to give him a discount? Is that what he's going to do? I have no idea. I'm out of the game of trying to figure out why he's waiting.
Right.
Or why he hasn't done it yet. Why he's like playing footsie, on the UCLA campus with DK Metcalf.
And that leads us to just fill in the holes.
Right,
and
just
kinda,
sign and commit.
Like, okay,
why not?
Maybe it's this, and maybe it's that, or maybe he's waiting for Minnesota.
But for Minnesota to reverse course now would be because McCarthy is proven to be unready in some way, shape, or form. Or they got cold feet on saying, we're not, we just don't want to start the process of maturing this quarterback so we can get to the point where he could be Jaden Daniels and he could be revelatory. And he could be that kid that lost one game after high school and is a winner also in the locker room and in the huddle. And let's have him gain ownership of this team, because the sooner that happens, the better off we would be in the long term by being in the boat that the Chiefs are in and the Eagles are in and the Bengals are in and the Bills are in, by having a guy that is your guy, and you're out of the market of trying to figure it out year to year that they were in last year in Minnesota, and that the Steelers are now in for 3 years now, and the Jets have been in. So that's my long-winded answer of saying overreaction, but I get it. And I know the longer that Rodgers is unsigned and just thinking about it, the more this type of speculation on a podcast like this one is merited. But I don't think that I'll call this an overreaction.
The longer this goes, it seems more and more likely he won't be signed anywhere before the draft, right?
And if that's the case, then the Steelers got to go draft a quarterback. They just have to. They have to.
In the first round.
You'd have to think they have to anyway. If they love Jackson Dart, he's sitting there at 21, you go get him.
Yeah, I think they have to anyway.
You go get him and stick him in. And there are worse quarterback rooms to be in based on, what Jordan Love has had to say about waiting behind Rodgers. There are worse quarterback rooms to be in than the one that Aaron Rodgers is sitting in. Again, everything we say about Rodgers is from the outside in, assuming he's just an irritant or a guy who just, because he's more than just about playing football, is exactly that and a disruptive force in the locker room. That's the way we view it. I've been told it's the exact opposite. So
it'd be nice if we got to see that.
We're going to. It just is not at the pace that we would like.
Yeah. Enigma, part 2.
What else? You got another one?
Yeah, a couple non-footballs before we wrap this up. Did you catch any of the men's Final Four on Saturday?
I sure did, yeah.
What a comeback by Houston.
Indeed.
Incredible. They were down, 6 or 7 with 30 seconds to go?
Oh, dude. They were down.
The resiliency on that
They
team.
outscored them, 25-8 from just from the second TV timeout to go.
Yeah, one field goal by Duke in the last 10 minutes.
And the 1 point that they got in the last couple of minutes was on that technical foul where Houston's player reached out and slapped the ball while the Duke was trying to inbounds it. And when that happened, I thought, well, now it's over.
Now it's over.
But not.
Nope.
Which, on behalf of all University of Michigan fans.
Oh, yes.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Tim Ratliff on White Lotus not happy about it either.
No.
You know what I mean? Rich, Duke wouldn't have blown it if they still had Coach K.
Okay. Come on. Okay.
I put this fully on John Shire.
How? Why?
You can't inbound the ball? Did they just forget basic fundamentals of getting the ball inbounded after a make, then getting it over half court, making sure your best free throw shooter has the ball so he can get fouled in the last few minutes? A guy who's a 50% free throw shooter is the one bringing the ball up in crunch time, gets fouled, misses. Terrible call on Cooper Flagg, obviously.
I agree.
But come on. Coach K has them absolutely coached up, dialed, locked in, and there's no way Coach K blows this game.
All right, I'll buy it just because it's fun. I'll buy it. What's your last one?
Completely on Shedeur.
Look at you, man.
I put this fully on him.
Okay.
Not the fact that I lost so much money.
There you go. I knew he would scratch that surface. By the way, Cooper Flagg had a really nice look. By the way, in a turnaround jumper sort of Leitner-like spot.
Here's the other
Was
thing.
it from the same part of the floor?
No, well,
was it close?
It was close. He was probably like four. It might have been a 12-footer. He was kind of dribbling in from the left side.
I know, right? But it wasn't like catch, turn, shoot. It was right around a similar spot on the floor.
And I hate to do this.
He wound up short.
I hate the main on main crime here that I'm about to do. If you're the best player and the number one pick in the draft, you got to make it.
You can't be short.
You can't be short.
I agree.
You got to make it.
I know. He's 6'9".
You get your one shining moment. You got to make it.
He's a big boy. He'll be fine.
Got to make it.
He'll be fine.
Come on.
He'll be fine.
All right, last one.
How is he going to wind up on the Celtics? That's my only question.
Oh, get ready.
Okay. All right.
It's going to be too bad watching him.
You don't have a ping pong ball, do you?
No, we're
not even like a Dumb and Dumber 0.000 like full, just
although
slightly
I did
hair
see,
above Blutarski
you know
chance.
You know what I did see? It's scrolling around in my For You is the idea that whoever gets the number one pick, we're just going to dangle Jaylen Brown and try to trade him for Cooper Flagg.
Okay.
I don't know.
He's only got
way over the luxury.
He also has the
second largest contract ever. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Rich, I'm wearing a flowered shirt today.
You are.
You might make the case these are azaleas.
Okay.
It's Masters Week.
Well, Rich, Tiger's not in it, so you can't make your usual crazy-ass Tiger claim.
I know. But Rory, Rich.
Oh, God.
This is the year for Rory.
Stop
baby.
It. Just stop
The Grand Slam is happening.
Just stop
But that's not my overreaction.
It's another tradition unlike any other.
Just me.
That you overhype Rory McIlroy only to be cut out.
Thoroughly disappointed and
Uh-huh.
have my heart ripped out.
Correct.
But Rich,
what do you got?
More so than just the Masters.
What do you have?
This is the best week on the sports calendar of the whole year. This week, right here.
The baseball's going.
Masters. Normally it's opening week for Major League Baseball, but now we're a week in.
Yes.
We got NBA coming to the end with the playoffs right around the corner.
Although the East is pretty much set.
The West is, though,
it is not
absolutely dynamite.
That is correct.
Like a game or two separates 3 all the way down to 8.
Are you going to just you want to throw hockey in because Ovechkin just created
that was
buzz?
Incredible, right?
Okay, sure. All right.
The absolute heater that Ovi's been on. He's cracking beers afterwards and
refusing
going
to break the record on an empty net because he wants to save it for Long Island in Brooklyn.
Honestly,
is that what he's saying?
Also, hot take: he probably should have not played this weekend and
done it at home.
Okay, he's been on such a heater anyway.
Okay,
playoffs coming up. We have the championship game in men's basketball tonight.
Sure.
I think this is the greatest week on the sports calendar. And we got the NFL draft. Obviously,
I understand
speculation ramping up with 2 weeks to go.
I get it. I hear you.
This week cannot be beat.
You cannot say, as much as you are right, that there is sports gridlock of significance happening right now.
Ooh, sports gridlock of significance.
You just cannot say any week on the sports calendar is the best week on the sports calendar when there is no football being played. You just can't. You just can't. I don't know what it is then. I don't know what week it is.
There's still football conversation.
I don't know what week it is. And I know there's football conversation about the draft.
Yeah.
I get it.
You think
there's intrigue.
There's literal practices going on as we're speaking.
I understand. And the Aaron Rodgers thing could happen at any point in time.
You think it's a week in October?
I can't peg it for you. Could be Thanksgiving week. Could be that. Because basketball is back.
That's like
I understand.
Like a second month NBA.
I understand. I get it. I just can't sit here and say best sports week of the calendar and zero football is being played. It just immediately disqualifies you.
All right. I think it
disqualifies the week.
You might have checkmated me there.
It's over. No football.
But there's
being
football
played.
talk. There's football talk.
Is
there a pro day this week?
I'm sure
there's got to be some pro days.
We could create one. Let's grab a football and go to UCLA.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
That's a pro day.
Who's Rodgers
two great
with?
pros having a day together.
What if Aaron Rodgers tomorrow conveniently is photographed, I don't know, throwing with Justin Jefferson?
Oh, my God.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop it. Good try. Overreaction. No football. Get out of here. All right, that is it for this edition of Overreaction Monday. Lots of good stuff in the Rich Eisen Productions world from the latest episode of Women's Sports Now. Cheryl Miller is going to be in studio with the ladies.
That's awesome.
It's talking about UConn's big win over South Carolina to cut down nets in Tampa, Florida. And on the flagship show today, are you ready? Do you know who's joining us?
Who's joining us?
Kyle McCord.
Oh, the quarterback.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
He might be.
I got questions for him.
A 6th first-round pick?
Oh,
Kyle
just
McCord?
look at you, man.
You know what I mean? Just slide right in there.
Yeah. Just to name one. Mayock will be joining us as well. And that's how we're rolling.
Let's do it.
Okay. That's it for Overreaction Monday. We'll be back next week with a pre-draft, or a couple weeks with a pre-draft pod. For Chris, I'm Rich. Adios. Catch the Rich Eisen Show live weekdays from 12 to 3 p.m. Eastern on Roku Sports Channel in the U.S.